So we're just getting out here. There's already things being thrown and tree knocking. What are you doing? What are you doing? You get hot in there. Oh, it's hot, that boy. It's hot. Paris, Texas, July 2015. Baked under a relentless sun. The air was heavy with the scent of baked grass and asphalt, and the promise of thunder in the distance. It was in this atmosphere that Ali Burress's life came to a tragic and mysterious end, haunted by shadows from the past and questions that would echo long after. Ali was no stranger to adversity. Her past, checkered with troubled decisions, tumultuous relationships, it followed her like a persistent storm. Most notorious among those relationships was an abusive ex-boyfriend whose presence lingered in Ali's life in unpredictable and unsettling ways. Friends whispered about drug use and violence as the father of her 2 children faced a murder charge in the following court proceedings. But Ali persisted. She carved out moments of joy and hope amid all the chaos, working odd jobs, trying to build new beginnings and a new relationship. Always wavering, but rarely defeated. Now, I did find the name of that ex-boyfriend, and I did learn the details of his heinous crime. But I'm not going to give his name. I'm not going to help cement his memory or give him any recognition. I'm also not going to drag this victim's name out to become a spectacle again. Let's let her rest and him rot. Ali was still involved with this man during his murder trial. He was accused of killing his wife in April of 2012. He had a history of abuse toward his wife, and he was allegedly abusive toward Ali. It was rumored that he was the supplier of Ali's drugs, and Ali was sort of beholden to him. During the trial, the presiding judge, Judge Eric Clifford, allegedly witnessed Ali whisper the phrase, "I love you," to the defendant during some testimony. Clifford, a staunch proprietor of the rules of the courtroom, well, his rules, and a known courtroom tyrant, was a little bit angered by the gesture and ordered Ali removed and searched due to being a, quote, security risk. Ali is removed, taken to a women's restroom, where she claimed that the officer, Paris Police Detective Veronica Blake, ordered her to strip for the search. Ali felt that this was a violation of her rights under the 4th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Ali filed a lawsuit against Blake, the police chief at the time, Bob Hundley, and a, quote, John Doe, which is assumed to be Judge Clifford. This was another point of contention in a history of run-ins between Ali and the Paris Police Department. Now, in all fairness, Detective Blake claimed that Ali stripped on her own accord, Ali stating that she, quote, knows how this works. It was never proven what actually happened in that restroom, and this lawsuit plays into many theories into what happened to Ali. Now, because of my career in law enforcement, I know Clifford and Blake personally. I can see Clifford abusing his authority, as many have implied, but I can't see Blake abusing hers. Now, I won't go as far as to say that Ali's account is false, because I was not there, and I'm not here to take sides. But the whole matter does throw a bit of a wrench into the gears of the mystery of Ali Burress. On a humid July 29th evening in 2015, Ali set out in her silver sedan with her common-law husband, Vincent Williams, for Shreveport, Louisiana. After an evening at a casino, She and Williams were traveling on Highway 271 north, just south of Buress, coming back from their trip. According to Williams, he and Ali got into a heated argument, and then Ali allegedly stopped her vehicle and let Williams out and then drove away. Buress police officers made contact with Williams on 271 and eventually took him to his residence. For unknown reasons, Ali found herself traversing an unmaintained county road, County Road 14850, which is just south of Buress near the Sulphur River. The road, which you've been watching me drive around this entire time, is the same road Ali drove her little silver passenger car around. It wound around a cornfield and a thicket, twisting dangerously close to the sheer drop into Hodds Creek. What happened next? That can only be pieced together from scattered evidence and the desperate call Ali made to 911 in the dark of the night. Looking at is the same view that Ali had as she drove near Hodds Creek. That dark area just to the left is the drop-off, which is about 10 feet straight down into the water. Why she was out here, we still don't know. Driving around the perimeter of that cornfield in an extremely unforgiving terrain, Ali drove into a shallow ravine hidden by undergrowth. The impact was enough to immobilize the vehicle, but not activate the airbags. When Ali regained consciousness, she found herself in an unfamiliar environment. A sea of crops stretching over the landscape and a wall of dense forest about a quarter mile ahead of her. With trembling fingers, at around 1:30 a.m., Ali dialed 911. Her voice, recorded and later replayed by investigators, was raw with confusion and fear. She stated to an attentive dispatcher that she had no recollection of how the crash had occurred or even how she'd come to be so far from the road. It's very possible that Ali didn't want to divulge that she was driving based on two things. Ali had a criminal history that involved a DWI, and Ali may have been impaired. Ali stated that she thought her husband was driving, couldn't find him at the time. Her husband, Williams, was on County Road 14850, but he was in his Ford Mustang, and when rescue personnel arrived, he advised deputies that Ali had called him and sent her location via a pin drop on the cell phone at a hairpin turn in the county road. Williams stated that he drove his Mustang to the area, but her car was not there. During this time, dispatch called the phone service company and was able to get them to ping Ali's phone. That means locate it via GPS. They pinged it near or possibly in Robertson's Creek. That's a creek about a quarter mile from where her car was eventually found. We'll address that later. And that sent emergency crews into the labyrinth of farmland and brambles. It is believed that most responders were expecting to find Ali's car on or near the paved roadway. Since Robertson's Creek crosses County Road 14850 and then eventually County Road 14760 a little further north. The search crew grew as the night went on. During the search, Ali was on the phone with 911, advising that she could hear the searchers, but couldn't see anyone. It's my opinion that Ali was attempting to walk towards the searchers to, quote, help, but was walking away from them. And that was compounding the issue of locating her. She was creating a deadly game of hide and seek without even realizing it. In March of 2017, a man and his son were looking for a calf that had separated from the herd. The son looked in some tall grass on the east border of their property and made a grisly discovery. A skull, some arm and rib bones, and a pelvis, along with a purse, were found lying in some thick brush. The men called the sheriff's office and the investigation began again. It was proven through forensics, DNA testing, and dental records that it was Ali, finally found. Due to the advanced decay of the body, the cause of death was inconclusive. No major trauma, no clear indication of foul play, but circumstances too strange to dismiss. The pelvis was cracked, but it couldn't be determined whether the break was post-mortem or not, and it was determined that it most likely happened after Ali's passing, probably by being stepped on by cattle. Rumors swelled. Was Ali fleeing from someone? Was the ex-boyfriend involved? Or was it something even more terrifying? It was well known that Ali had connections and acquaintances in the local drug world. It's speculated that Ali was at least somewhat familiar with the area she drove into. She could be tied to persons and events in the area that were less than legal, but evidence proved elusive. The case went cold. But the theories from locals, they flared. What you're seeing here is pretty much the last thing that Ali saw the last night she was known to be alive. Not much of a view. I want to use this map to try to give you a better idea of where we're looking. The blue line at the top, that's going to be the original search area. That's where everybody thought she was at. The blue line itself indicates the path that the internet thinks that she took from her wrecked car to her final resting place. At the bottom, you can see we're a little deeper into the woods here. That red line indicates, I guess, the possible path she took back and forth to her car, which you can't hardly see it, but it's a red dot in between all that mess. The yellow dot was where her remains were actually found. Now, it's much further south than where the original search party was, and this is why it took them 9 hours to find her car. The area below the red line is all heavily wooded area, about a quarter of a mile away from her crash site. The property owner explained to me that that wooded area is almost physically impassable. She got through it through, at the time, was about waist deep bramble and thorn bushes. And she did it wearing a pair of shorts and flip-flops. It's amazing that she made it as far as she did. To the east of her was Odds Creek. Now, this is not a little stream. This is almost a river. And it's surrounded on each side by about a 10-foot cliff. She was not going that direction. To the south of her was Sulphur River, which was pretty much the same deal. From the crash site, hopefully up to the yellow circle, is where we're going to try to investigate. At this point, it's pretty much impossible to get through and follow the exact path that she took without destroying people's property. I'm not going to cut down trees to try to do it. We're going to see what we can find, see if we can find some prints, and just try to get a general idea of what kind of terrain she was dealing with that night. Because of her past, Ali's disappearance was not severely scrutinized by the public. The official answer was accepted and everyone went back to their lives. No national news coverage, no FBI involvement, no round-the-clock coverage to keep Ali's memory alive. With no real public scrutiny of the narrative, the story was left to interpretation by those that kept the story alive. That is usually a recipe for the incredible. The supernatural element, or the unknown wildlife aspect. And this county is rife with legends of a creature that is possible, but not probable. So it's not dismissed or ridiculed like other legends may be. Whispers sprang up in the county about a shadowy presence stalking the night, a black panther, glimpsed only in the flashes between the stalks, its eyes burning with intent. Locals claimed the creature had been spotted near Robertson's Creek, slinking through the undergrowth, its massive paws silently atop the muddy banks. Some insisted that Ali, dazed and vulnerable, may have crossed paths with this elusive predator in her final hours. The panther was blamed in hushed conversations, fireside retellings, its legend growing with each retelling, part warning, part explanation for the inexplicable. Yet no tracks were found, no evidence beyond stories, fear. The mystery of Ali Burress's disappearance fused with old folklore, and for some, the panther became the embodiment of the darkness haunting Paris, Texas. An outsider, untamed, forever lurking, just out of sight. Here's where we come in. If there's a predatory cat, or any animal to blame for such a tragedy, we need to know. We also need to know if it still stalks the area and is a viable threat, or if it's just a campfire story to scare children. If there's an unknown threat out there, we'll find it, and if need be, we'll remove it. We have to locate it first, and now it's time to collect evidence. The journey to the site began in the city of Paris. After verifying where our hunt should begin, my son and I made our way out to the area of the crash, according to the property owners. Each mile toward the tangled wilds of Lamar County seemed to pull us deeper into the heart of the mystery. The road narrowed, cornfields and thickets closing in on each side, till at last we reached the boundary where the story began. Before we hunt a mythical, stealthy killer, we need to know about our quarry. Let's look at the legends, some of the scientific information that's available on large cats in the state of Texas. Lamar County, situated in the rolling, piney woods, dense river bottom wilderness of North Texas, is a place where history, legend, and the wild collide. Among its most enduring mysteries is the tale of the so-called Black Panther, a creature both feared and revered, said to stalk the tangled corridors of Robertson's Creek and Sulphur River, and the shadow-laden cornfields that skirt Paris, Texas. While the existence of a black panther in North America is not supported by mainstream science, this legend persists, fueled by generations of whispers, fleeting glimpses, and the persistent sense that sometimes the woods are watching. Throughout the decades, locals have reported seeing large, jet black cats slipping silently through the woods, their eyes reflecting green or yellow in the beam of a flashlight, headlights. Hunters sometimes discover tracks in the mud larger than a bobcat's, more feline than a dog's, always washed away by the next rain before evidence can be gathered. Some claim to have spotted the Black Panther near Robertson Creek, where the banks are muddy, thick with reeds. It's perfect terrain for an ambush predator. Others recount brief encounters on county roads near the Sulphur River, headlights catching a flash of sinewy muscle and a long curling tail before the shadow melts into the brush. Stories circulate about livestock or pets disappearing, the attacks sometimes attributed to coyotes or wild hogs. But in the retelling, it's often blamed on the elusive panther. It should be noted that in Lamar County, there is no record of any large cat attacks on humans. None that I could find. And that goes to show that this creature may not be as dangerous as we think it is, if it even exists. Yet, despite persistent tales, there has never been a verifiable photograph, a body, or clear evidence that proves that Black Panther's existence. Trail cameras set up by hunters and naturalists capture bobcats, coyotes, deer, and the occasional mountain lion, but the black cat remains a mystery. Despite the lack of scientific validation, Texas Parks and Wildlife Department continues to receive sporadic reports from the public. Their advice is generally to maintain a healthy skepticism, but to document any unusual sightings with photographs, tracks, or other evidence. So enough of the scripted storytelling. I'm just going to talk for a little while now. We made our way out to the location where the incident took place. We drove around for a while, checking game trails, which were kind of hard to find. But as you can see here, there's plenty of places for large predators to hide, and there's plenty of game for them to feed on. Now, this is not the exact area here where the incident occurred, but it is a little further south, and it does show just what kind of terrain that surrounded the area of the incident. We made our way through this gate, and as we made our way towards Robertson's Creek, well, my son noticed that we had jumped quite a few deer off to our right. Now, by the time I got the camera, got it aimed, it was kind of hard to find them. But if you look close in this area here, you'll probably see some movement. We continued on to Robertson's Creek from this point. It is possible that in her last hours, Ali may have found herself in this area. It kind of follows the outside perimeter of extremely dense forest. And as I'll show later, I'm pretty sure she made her way through this forest. But as we traveled through, we still only found a few game trails. Nothing indicating that a large predator had been in the area. But it was the heat of the day. And if you know anything about cats, you know they're not going to move around at that time. We got to Robertson's Creek from this trail. As you can see, it's been traversed a few times, probably side by sides. There's an old iron bridge here. We figured out pretty quickly that it had several wasp nests, and right before I started recording, we sort of scared off a fairly large water moccasin. Instead of continuing on this trail, we went to the incident location. Drove around just a few minutes just to get a feel for the land. Try to see if we could figure out exactly where her car went in. We decided to pick a spot near the trees, gear up, look inside, and just see if there was anything worth noticing inside the creek bed or the forest area here. So this is probably going to be the wooded area where she clambered around trying to find her way out. Let's get on next up here, just so we keep an eye on where we're going. So what I'm guessing is we'll follow this creek, follow around here, just see how it snakes around, if we can even get through.
This one here?
Yeah, we might not be able to get very far. Just down here like that other creek, watch for the snakes. Yeah, that'd be. Gear we're using today is, as you can see, my Jeep, which I always take. But we're going to be carrying some rifles with us on this trip. The hogs can be bad in this area. A angry boar is not something you want to deal with a stick and a rock. We both have sidearms. My son's bringing his 3-day pack. Just got first aid, water, that kind of thing. I'm just using a LBV load-bearing vest with some water. We both have our bushcraft knives, basic gear. The rifles we're using are going to be Ruger AR 5.56 models. They're chambered in 5.56 or 2.23. Hopefully won't need them. But when you're going off in the backwoods, in this no man's land like this, you want to be prepared. Yeah, she trucked through this. Trying to find her way out of here. Let's see.
I would go through that.
Yeah.
Across that.
Just trying to find the least snaky area. Something has bedded down over here at some point. Yeah. Parabesco. It may look simple enough to move through here. We had to watch every step that we took. It wasn't easy traversing through this, and this wasn't even the worst part. As we walked, we searched for tracks, searched for sign, claw marks on the trees. This is the sort of thing that I've trained for years. I've done search and rescue, wilderness search and rescue. I've taught survival skills to search and rescue teams. I've worked with and around man tracking canines. I'm at home in here. And this is still not fun to walk through.
To the right?
Yeah. God dang. Now that is a strong ass spider web. careful on this. That's where snakes will love to hide because they blend in. Come on, get off of me, spider web.
Got a whole hammock. Right,
something has come through here. Deer.
This one, like that one looks kind of like claw.
With the.
Oh, the two.
You see that right there? You see?
Yeah.
You know you can't shoot one, right?
I can't shoot a deer?
No. You don't be shooting no deer.
If I'm not licensed?
You want to chop this one? That's not seasoned either.
What if it's trying to kill me?
Yeah, it won't. Perfect. Yeah, still looks like deer have crossed through here. Oh, that's some little flies. Okay. We'll make sure it wasn't a bee's nest I was hearing. There's a game trail right here. That's been cut. Chainsaw probably.
That tree just fell over.
Yeah.
The one right above us?
Oh yeah. Only thing holding up some little branches.
And this tree right here.
Okay. That's an interesting track. That's got claws. There's a game trail right here. You see that one in the center? Got little claw marks in it.
That's small, right?
Yeah, it could be a raccoon.
Looks like 5 fingers.
Yeah. It's a dugout. Something's been digging. Probably an armadillo. They like digging for grub worms. Man, snaky. And the spider would be like fishing line.
been hard up to get past that line. Raccoon. This is soft. God, this would be a nightmare barefoot. Okay. Here's where it starts getting nasty. The ground here was soft. A lot of tracks, different animals, mainly small game. No tracks of large or small cats. We still found no claw marks in the trees. So we double checked our bearing, pressed on for a little ways, till we could find a way to break out on the other side. Well, You didn't even break it.
it's like fishing line. Okay, it's cornfield. God. Out here.
Come on, boys.
Huh?
Welcome to mom, boys.
With no evidence found at the incident location, we shifted our investigation to the surrounding area. It's not surprising that we hit a wall around Robertson's Creek. The reports of the black cat come from, and point to, areas further north of Sulphur. I had the pleasure of speaking with a friendly employee at Sun Valley Package Store in Sun Valley, Texas, while I was fueling up. She gave a detailed account of a large black cat crossing Highway 82 near the store and disappearing behind a mobile home park. This area is just east of the small town of Reno and is quite rural. And so if we can't find a cat near the Sulphur, let's see if we can find one out here. What we're looking at is a map, the area of Sun Valley. The yellow circle, that's going to be the store itself. That red line to the right is the path that she saw the cat take and disappear. Now that blue line at the bottom, that's going to be the Northeast Texas Trail. We'll talk about that in a moment. I discovered that the Northeast Texas Trail, a hiking and biking trail, runs about 133 miles from Farmersville to New Boston, runs along Highway 82, right in the middle of the area of the sighting. So with that in mind, it was time to do some night rucking. Again, my son took security as I did some tracking, some stalking. This trail starts in Farmersville, Texas, using the old Union Pacific and Chaparral Railroad right-of-way, cutting through the forests, fields, and creek crossings. The trail dives right into the heart of the Northeast Texas wildlands and right through the perfect big cat habitats. We went in at the East Reno Trailhead, started our trek. We decided to time our ruck so that we would be in the exact area of the sighting at night. We didn't have any luck with a daytime venture and had first-hand information that this cat moves at night and in this area. There's a big difference between cougars and true black panthers, which are never pure black. Cougars are naturally extremely shy and avoidant. Yes, there are exceptions to the rule, but cougars prefer to avoid humans. Jaguars, black panthers are a little bit different. They're a little more curious, quote-unquote playful. In other words, they can be more aggressive towards humans, especially if they are accustomed to being around humans. I've been told by people that have worked with big cats in captivity that they're much less avoidant than the other cats, except for tigers. Now, this can be a recipe for disaster for a lone person walking in the territory of a large black panther. The Northeast Texas Trail creates just that scenario, and if there's one out there, especially at night.
Oh, look right there.
Wow.
That is a water moccasin.
That's a water moccasin?
Mm-hmm. Look how triangle shaped the head is. Yeah, venomous. You see how it's kind of got a sharp spine and flattens out on the bottom?
Yeah.
And then it's dark colors, no markings, just dark. That's water moccasin. That's why I didn't want to crawl down there earlier.
Where do you think he was at? In that?
Oh, there's no telling where he come from. But he's a big one.
So
That's a pretty good size.
After 3 miles of rucking and a short visit on the side trail, we decided to call it. Again, no physical or audible or any kind of evidence to collect. And again, no cat. It wouldn't be prudent to assume that there are no big cats in the area at all. There are verified reports of mountain lions being spotted as close as Hunt County. You can see the videos, pictures online of large tan cats moving through residential areas. And I've heard the distinct scream of a big cougar in Red River County myself. It's not impossible that they're here in Lamar. Now, are there big black cats in Lamar County? That's another story. After another fill up, the next feasible area to check was the lake. Pat Mays Lake sits in the dense forest area of North Lamar County, just south of Red River. The legend of the Black Panther originates from this area.
Here's an overview of Pat Mays Lake. Give you an idea of the size, the layout of the land. And here's the lake itself.
I don't know if you can see it on camera. There's a, we always call it the mud line there in the water. When the lake is up really high, and you usually get that line of demarcation at the shore. That gives you an idea of how high the lake is. I learned of a secluded area with a lone boat ramp and no designated swimming area just south of Lamar Point. This wooded area is also known to house another local monster, the Sasquatch. There have been so many Sasquatch sightings there that researchers make yearly trips to the area. This area is on a wildlife refuge just adjacent to federal military property. The Texas Guard Infantry Training Camp is here, Camp Maxie. At one point, Maxie was the holding place for German POWs during World War II. This entire area is also where the U.S. Army did its mortar and field artillery training for years. Here is where we're going to search tonight for large cats. We'll worry about Bigfoot, World War II memorabilia later. But should we experience anything at all, well, then we'll address it. So let's load up our gear. Let's head to the woods. After arriving to the area, took a little detour in our off-road section just to see what was out there, but proved to be uneventful. So we parked, got our gear together, and headed into the woods. You. So we're just getting out here. There's already things being thrown and tree knocking. I can see why people get so spooked doing these investigations. Ah. Heel. Take heel. What the hell?
No prints. Take. Heel. I've got to keep him back away from the water. There have been reports of gators this close to the swamp area.
This is Tank's first night mission off leash in the woods. So he's really excited, and I'm having to stay on him. But I don't have my son to pull security, so I've got to have another set of eyes somewhere.
There's been some people that have driven down here not too long ago. And heel. Heel. Tank. Boy. Heel.
He usually minds a lot better than this, so I'm wondering if something had him spooked. He kept trying to pull point, and that's not his job.
I'd like to find a spot just to kind of sit and listen. We could follow the water line on around. This direction takes us closer to the actual swamp area. This is more of a recreational area, but I don't want to bushwhack in the middle of the night with no means of egress or no good means. So we're just gonna hang out and listen, see what we hear other than frogs. If something comes up, I will let you guys know, but since I am out here away from everything, limited on battery, I'm gonna shut it down for a little bit, and we're just gonna hang out and see what happens.
So I sat here in the woods in the dark for about 30 minutes. The only sounds I heard were Tank and the frogs. Nothing eventful. And so instead of sitting here for 30 minutes showing you guys a black screen and listening to frogs, which would be great if you were trying to sleep, we'll skip this part and move on with the story.
We're making our way back. I'm going to check for prints. I'm going to try to find a secondary trail going back and see if that gets us anything. Heel. Heck. I know the vehicle trail's down by the water a little closer. Heck. Heel. Oh, he wants to run so bad. Nothing. Tank, heel. Tank. Ah. Heel. He is trying to get himself in trouble tonight. Hello. I'm not finding that secondary trail anywhere. I've only been out here once before. Really don't want to take him through all this broken glass again. Come on. Heel. I don't think I've got much choice. That's a large dent in there. Hank, heel. Heel. It looks like we've got just too much human activity out here. Seems to keep everything kind of run off. So it may be time to go a little further south, the county. See what we can find out that way. This heel. There's been nothing but a bust on the north side. This used to be the hub for all. Heel. Come on. I'm tired of telling you. Here we go. Here's where I believe we came in. Thank you. You better stay with me. And some four-wheelers down here. As I made my way out, things started getting a little strange, so I picked up the pace. I could hear, or more like feel, low resolution, low frequency growls. It was a little unsettling. I hope that was a truck I just heard, not a growl. That was a growl. It's extremely deep. An old tank didn't budge. The camera didn't pick up what I heard. And there's the Jeep. After some intriguing events and a lot of time in the dark, we didn't find any evidence of a large cat once again. This would be a really fun spot to investigate later, and maybe try and work our way to the swamp area. It's a little further south of the lake. But for now, I guess we won't be able to prove the existence of the Lamar County black panther or its connection to Ali Burress. I was assured by some locals that the Red River would be the place to find our elusive black panther. I made a day trip to the river, found many cool tracks,
but none were of a large cat. Now, I won't bore you with the uneventful walk along the red sandy bank of the mighty Red River. No snakes, no animals, no big cat. It was nice to spend some time on the mighty Red again after many years apart, but my search remains uneventful. In the end, the legend of the Lamar County Black Panther persists because it satisfies something fundamental in the human spirit. A longing for mystery, a respect for nature's power, and an acknowledgement that not every question has a simple answer. The landscape of Buress, Texas, with its labyrinth of creeks, cornfields, and shadow-haunted forests, is a fertile ground for both wild animals and wild imagination. Ali Burress's mysterious death remains a specter in the history of Buress, Texas. Some say it was a tragic accident, the last chapter in a life marked by hardship and resilience. Others believe it was something more sinister, a final act with something mysterious. To this day, the truth lies hidden in the silence of that cornfield and in the winding bank of Robertson's Creek. Unanswered questions that linger each July. Ali's memory endures in the stories told by friends, in the cautionary tales whispered by neighbors, and in the hope that someday answers might finally surface from the shadows. If society shunned Ali during her short life, we can at least clear up any confusion or conjecture to her death. And hopefully, we can have some sort of celebration in remembrance of a life that was cherished by many. It is the least that I can do to show the environment, give a sense of the alarm that poor Ali faced on that fateful night. Not for grotesque fascination, but for the purpose of humanizing her, hopefully giving some weight to her suffering to garner some compassion. It is also our responsibility to teach others using her real-world struggle to help others to avoid the same fate. In other words, it's my intent to teach you, the viewer, the realities of conflict with nature and the realities of the complexities of rural search and rescue, how the mysterious can truly just be the mundane in a covert disguise. As I ponder over the information, the pictures, the videos that I gathered for this story, I just think about how much different the outcome could have been. And I hope that, at least in a small part, Ali's story can help somebody else. If you find yourself in the same position that Ali was in, stay with your vehicle. Your vehicle will always be found long before you will. So this is my first long-form video. I hope it wasn't too long. I hope my editing wasn't too bad. I hope my script reading wasn't horrible. I'm not used to doing this. Now, I've done a different job for the last 20 years. If you like what you've seen, let me know. If not, let me know. Just tell me in the comments what you'd like to see different, or if I should just keep trucking. I'm not a believer or a non-believer in cryptids. I'm a cryptid agnostic. But there are many out there who do believe. So for those people, I'll keep playing devil's advocate. Thanks for watching.